This week on Art's InSight, the art of perseverance.
There's such a positive message out of the darkest chapters in parts of her life.
A performance artist combines calligraphy with music.
I'm trying to create unique space with black dots and lines.
Pushing the boundaries of fiber art.
There are a plethora of materials available to artists today, and this is such an incredible representation of over 40 years of contemporary art.
And every picture tells a story.
It gave all of these amazingly talented, brilliant people a voice.
I'm Ernie Manous, and it's time to get Art's InSight. Welcome to Art's InSight. I'm Ernie Manous. Today we're at Holocaust Museum Houston, where a new exhibit showcases the power of the human spirit.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
It's a part of American history that's a very dark chapter. During the war, 120,000 Japanese Americans were put into the camps, forcibly removed from their homes on the west coast of the United States, put into 10 different internment camps in the interior U.S. My late father and his family were a farming family in the central coast of California, and they were forcibly removed from their home, and they had to leave their home with one suitcase each.
I was 13 and a half months old. My mother was pregnant with my younger brother then too. So I can see why they were very, maybe not scared, but anxious about where they were going. They had like 7 days to get everything together to go. Mom being pregnant, of course, stacked up on diapers because we could only take what you could carry.
My name is Delphine Hirasuna, and I am the author and curator of a book and show that is called the Art of Gaman, Arts and Crafts of the Japanese American Internment Camps, 1942 to 1946. Gaman, when I was growing up, that was the word that every adult said. If I said, I don't like school, I don't want to go, it was like you just have to go Gaman and just go anyway. When you talk to people, it occurred to me that everybody said the same word, Gaman. I think that when they initially got to camp, I don't think they were thinking of making arts and crafts, but because their living unit had no furniture, it started out just trying to take care of their basic necessities. And because they were held there 3.5 to 4 years, at some point, it was like, okay, we've made our furniture, let's see, something to beautify the barrack. And so part of it was just looking for ways to keep themselves entertained, keep themselves from going nuts. What they will find are objects made from found material and scrap. So indigenous things. And it runs the gamut from paintings, mostly watercolor paintings, wood carvings. There are a couple of objects in this show that belong to my family. One is a carved elephant on a globe, and that was done by my grandfather in camp. And then another one is the 1,000-stitch sash. The sash that we have in the show belonged to my uncle. The most common objects that were made were little wooden bird pins and shell pins. When I started doing the book, I decided that I did not want to have an airplane made from a kit. So, my criteria was that it had to be something made from scrap or found materials. And that really defines the show, that people made these things from things they found. There's a cane here made out of cactus. There's a train made from tin cans and file cabinet parts and watch dials and things like that. You know, they were really inventive in what they made. After the war, they didn't see what they made as art, and so they didn't value them as anything more than, as they say, busy work. It was busy work. What I want people to come to the show and realize that the people who were put in camps were individuals, were human beings who had a sensitivity, and to think about what they created and where their interests were.
I think everyone has realized to brand your enemy by the way they look, the way they talk, and maybe the people that they associate with. And I will say for a fact that maybe not my generation, but the generation after is much more vocal about injustices and human rights and the mistakes that the government made and later admitted to. So I think that part is nice, and there's been a movement all over to let this not happen again.
You know, it's obviously a personal story because, you know, my family went through that. But I hope that as many Houstonians and Texans could come and view the exhibit at the Holocaust Museum, because there's such a positive message. Out of the darkest chapters in parts of her life, something just wonderful and beautiful can be created.
The Art of Gaman is at the Holocaust Museum through September. And here to tell us what else is going on at the museum is Executive Director Dr. Kelly Zuniga. Hello there.
Hi, Ernie.
When you think of a Holocaust Museum, the first thing people don't often think about is art, but there's a whole lot of art here.
There is. In fact, we have 2 large galleries, in addition to where you're here right here is our core exhibition space, which is called Bearing Witness. And when we built this museum, this was the key historical profile area about the Holocaust. But then we also have the Central Gallery, and the Central Gallery is beautiful. Right now we have a show that is Pauline Jacobsberg, and she is a famous printmaker, and it is really a beautiful example of the use of print, but also what she does is she uses historical references to the Holocaust that are within the print itself. So it's a beautiful, beautiful exhibit, and it'll be here through June 15th.
In a bigger context, how does art and making art help people understand what happened in the Holocaust from your point of view?
Well, I think art is really crucial from the perspective of learning about the Holocaust, because people learn in different ways. And art evokes a lot of different meanings for people. So throughout the museum, we have sculpture, we have paintings that demonstrate different aspects of the Holocaust, feelings, emotional feelings, and perspectives that people might have had if they were a participant in the Holocaust or in a concentration camp, for example. But then there's also our Danish rescue boat, for example, that is an art form itself. It's an artifact, and people learned through that from the standpoint of rescue. That was used to rescue Jews, and they actually saved in excess of 7,000 Danish Jews at 1942, at that time period.
We often think art and artifact do go hand in hand, and here there's wonderful examples of all of that.
It is, and we use it to teach not only children. We have over 50,000 school children that come through the museum every year using art, but also for different age groups they learn in different ways. And one really important aspect, another art form, is our digital oral testimonies. And so we have a total of 298 digitized oral testimonies, and people can come in and listen to their stories. And so they learn about their experiences. Many of our survivors have given testimonies about their experiences in the Holocaust.
And I think if folks have not seen the complex here in the building, there's also the auditorium. So the spoken word is also treated here, along with film and all the things that you have. Thank you so much for this contribution to Houston.
Well, I appreciate it, and thanks for everything you do for the Holocaust Museum Houston.
Up next, we go from Japanese art in Houston to Japanese art in Colorado, where one artist is turning an ancient craft into performance art.
Shodo, or Japanese calligraphy, came from China. I started to learn Shodo before entering elementary school. In Japan, kana, or Japanese outfits, are very beautiful. Since I was small, I really liked to write letters and also creating something. Through Shodo, or Japanese calligraphy, I wanted to express my art. I'm trying to create unique space with black dots and lines. Through today's performance, I wanted to share my art with audience and the music performers so that it's beyond Shodo or just practicing the letters, but just I wanted to show my art. When I perform, it's always with music. I get inspiration from music, but more like from the performers rather than just music itself. If it's improvisation, I don't think anything, so it's just improvise. If it's not the improvisational music, I think what I'm gonna do beforehand. Art is very important for the world because you see something, you feel something. It still moves you, so that's why it's important.
For more information about the exhibit, visit shiraishi.modalbeats.com. Next up, the exhibit Spun, Adventures in Textiles, is redefining what some perceive as art.
Spun at the Denver Art Museum is a campus-wide exhibit that wraps people's minds in textiles. And from pre-Columbian weavings to contemporary light installations, DAM is pushing the boundaries of what one might consider to be fiber art.
It's an eye-opener for what today we take for granted. This exhibition functions on so many different levels. One is exactly that, function. How different textiles might have been used or were used, whether it's for warmth and comfort when you're sleeping, protection, sacred rituals. There are so many different techniques represented in this exhibition. People think of weaving and embroidery perhaps off the top of their heads, but by extension quilting and coverlets, tapestry, block printing, resist dyeing, so all the different ways to decorate that piece of cloth.
But it's not just about cloth for today's artists. Many are experimenting, weaving together unexpected materials, and echoing the layers and depth found in more traditional textile works.
There are a plethora of materials available to artists today, and this is such an incredible representation of over 40 years of contemporary art. And you can really see whether it's textiles, wood, charred wood, light. There's different mediums throughout this exhibition that really lure you in. And it's different than the historic textile galleries where there's much more of a functional aspect to the work. In this show, it's more artists of our own time thinking about issues that are relevant to us living today. This is a young artist, and she's taken apart children's teddy bears and then reconstituted them in this rug, in this wall piece, and creates this sort of Rorschach pattern, you know, the ink blot test. Sort of having fun with materials and thinking about how when you take them out of their normal context, they might mean something different.
I made these works in the early 90s at the height of the AIDS crisis. A lot of my friends were dying, and this work really was in response to that. So for me to plow my way systematically through time by knitting, for about 10 years of knitting about 12 hours, 13 hours a day. So it was a way for me to keep track and also to meditate on the passage of time.
Artist Oliver Herring's work is a reflection of his experience. I asked curator Alice Sabritz how other people throughout history have used materials, and as a result, what we learn about culture.
Textiles say a lot about culture. It could be the materials, because certain areas of the world having flocks of sheep and they might be making their textiles from wool. Others might have flax or linen. Others are silk growing cultures. So where you live in the world, that's going to influence to a degree what your textiles are made from. Of course, trade is a big part of that, and people are always incorporating things taken from a distance into their own. Color choices can be dictated by culture. You'll see a lot of indigo in the show. Many of those textiles are from Japan, whereas the Uzbek ikat is a flame of colors. They are in an art museum, and we are appreciating them for either fabulous design, beautiful workmanship, but always the beauty of the object.
So we're here in the quilt studio, which is part of Spun. Why did the museum want to include a space like this, Jenna?
This is not your grandma's quilt studio. This is really about contemporary practice. So really thinking about the ways that colors and patterns and different textures work, which is exactly the same process that a painter or a sculptor goes through in making those creative decisions.
There's labels throughout the exhibition. You can use your mobile phone and take a picture of the QR code beneath the label, and it takes you to videos and the artists talking about their work. And I would venture to say that all art is interactive. A lot of contemporary artists, the viewer completes the piece, so it is an interactive thing. We all bring baggage and different meanings to a work, and the transposition is looking at interactivity through technology, and that's a very new thing. I mean, only the accessibility of young artists being able to work with technology to make a piece like that has only come about in the last decade. Your movement is picked up by cameras that you don't see and is translated through software to create this movement that's projected onto the wall. It becomes this optical effect, and it's quite beautiful. But it also makes you aware of your body and your own movements. It's a very poetic, simple piece. It's a very different way of thinking about making art, and so art is no longer just a painting or a sculpture or a photography for that matter. So that's what I love about contemporary art. You can see this sort of transgression of how they're all continuing to push the limits of what a piece of wood can do, or just fabric and materials in general, to convey these very deep, thoughtful, emotional, and political responses.
For more on this exhibit, visit denverartmuseum.org. Finally tonight, we head to Detroit, where a group of photography students remind us of the joy of creativity.
So we already talked about what we're going to do today. We're going to find alphabets in the trees, like a V. There's a V right there, see? There's a V. So we're going to try and find those, but I also want you to shoot whatever you see that's beautiful in these lovely woods.
Yeah.
Okay?
Cool.
All right, let's hit it.
All right.
You would be hard-pressed to find human beings that embody such kindness to each other and such dedication to the craft. It just, and such enthusiasm for what they're doing.
Hey, hey.
I love
Frank's gone pro on me. They're the kindest people I've ever met. They don't have a mean gene.
You know, I got that white movement, the white time, the white everything.
As happy and I like art and pictures.
How long do you think it took that whole log right there to get covered with that beautiful moss?
Her kept calling me for doing this and stuff like that. And I told her, yes, I'll do it. I'll take pictures.
So we're looking at colors as well.
I have spent so many years watching people who have special challenges be disenfranchised from mainstream, a lot of mainstream things, and it's always been a burning desire for me to be able to be in the business long enough to see them stand side by side with other artists who are recognized, and that they would be equally recognized for their contribution that has never been less than other artists.
I think those are bug houses. I don't think they're mushrooms. There's mushrooms on the other side. Patty Sims came into my picture, in my world, and we decided that I wanted to take people out into the woods on field trips and give them a live experience of what it's like to shoot on location.
Kay has such an enormous presence, and she directs people well, and so Olivia felt confident, and her confidence has grown because of this program.
This program is very important because I think many times our students are off the radar. And when we're out in public, they can see the talent and the beauty and the love.
Well, people with disabilities, they learn really fast. People like me, Olivia, and everybody else, we learn really fast in our life. So that's why I like it. You learn.
It gave all of these amazingly talented, brilliant people a voice. It gave them a voice to speak not necessarily what they could have said with words, but to show people where their passion lied, in the woods, different places.
I love it. It's nature and beautiful too. I like it a lot.
I just like doing it because it makes me feel normal.
Wow, that's powerful. Art is a powerful thing, and it's in our DNA to make art, to be creative. So if that can make someone feel better about themselves, I'm all for it. See this part of it right here?
It just keeps pressure off me. You know, it's like a jar of grit is falling on you. Once you take that picture, you're happy. You have that feeling like, oh, I love doing it, you know, and everything, and I just love it.
Look at that leaf, it's so beautiful. Someone has to take a picture of that leaf. That is stunning. They're absolutely brilliant photographers. I'm always surprised at the angles, at what they see that I don't necessarily see.
That's the one where I was laying down, like laying in the leaves, and I was looking down. That's the one I like.
To see the smiles on their faces when they walk into a gallery and they see their work in an art gallery, you can't buy that kind of joy. It's beautiful.
Every time we do something like this, and every time we have an art exhibit, whether it's at the Detroit Artists Market or at the Scarab Club or any other venue we may choose, that when people come and they see, then they know, and when they know, then they believe, and when they believe, they're inspired.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yay!
She has learned to express her inner thoughts and her inner feelings by the images that she produces. And it's so much simpler for her to snap a picture than to verbalize what she's feeling internally.
These are the kinds of things that change lives. I've watched people who, felt like they had very little to contribute, who were socially isolated, who started participating in our photography programs and literally just came alive. You can never diminish the value of that.
I wonder if we could even count how many different colors we actually see.
This is making her happy, and it's making all of us happy. including all of our family and friends. They're all involved in it.
I love everything about it. We all get together and have fun.
When we are out, it gives people a chance to see that, again, we're all from one big family, and that the talent and the brilliance and the love that is always shown with them toward each other, with the parents, with everyone who's involved. Oh, the blue jay feather.
Oh,
wow.
The blue jay feather. Oh, there's a blue jay feather for you.
Thank you.
Come on. Oh.
I see a gratitude that they have for the people who work with them, you know, people like Kay, people like the parents who support.
Yay! Oh, you got it. Great. Nice shot.
I want to thank you, Kay, because I like to take pictures.
That's a wrap for this edition of Arts Insight. Be sure to join us next week as we revisit Montrose's Neon Gallery and check out the James Searle sculpture that's become a landmark on Kirby Drive. For all of us at Houston Public Media, I'm Ernie Manous. Thanks for watching and have a great week.